Hi, I'm Callum from Time Valley Motorhomes, and today I'll be showing you the handover on the Chausson Premium 634 2020 model. So on the passenger side of the vehicle, this is your Techni box, which houses your freshwater intake. So you put a hose pipe into here to fill your fresh water up. So if you are going wild camping, you will have to take a full tank of fresh water with you. If you are going to a site, tend to take a maximum of 20 litres, as it gives you the option to use the toilet and have a cup of tea. And this little toggle here is for, if you're full, it'll drain all the water off apart from 20 litres, which will just drain directly underneath the chassis. So it makes you lighter on weight and more sufficient on fuel. And then you've got your charger, your 12 volt fuses, and your RCD unit here with all your trips. So should a kettle or a toaster or a hairdryer trip the van out, try here before you try where you've hooked up from. And you've got your main fuses for the diesel heating. So if the diesel heating light goes from a solid light to a flashing light, if you just come out, lift them fuses out and push them back in, it will reset the diesel heating. But like I say, carry some spare blade fuses with you just in case a fuse does blow. You can put a new one in and fix your problem. But the main drain for your fresh water is located just underneath here. There it is, that bung there. It's just a push fitting, so you just pull that off to drain all the fresh water out, which is just here. And then you've got your toilet. So operate your toilet's in there. This is where all your business ends up. So should the slide be closed on the toilet, you'll be able to lift this orange handle and lift, like I said, free of the toilet. You've got wheels to drag it around should it be full and empty. Take this off. This is your cap for your liquid as well, your measuring cap. Go to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside or behind the toilet block. Press this button here, tip it out. This just brings a bit of air in, gives it a consistent flow, stops it glugging. And then once you've emptied it, put some water in, give it a rinse, give it a shake, tip out again. And if you're using the liquid form, a cap falls straight into here. If you're using the tablets form, put a pint of water in, push it back into the toilet, drop one straight down the toilet. They are in a cellophane, it'll break off like so. This is your external cold water feed shower. So it's only cold water, so the pump must be on. You'll get an end that clips in there, and on the other end you'll get a trigger gun, which is great for the dogs if they've been on the beach, the kids, the bikes, the boots, the wellies, anything. You can just shower off should the pump be on and should there be sufficient water. And if you are heating your water on gas, this cover must come off. If you're on electric, you can leave this cover on. If you're heating on gas, it must come off. So take it off. If you push some pressure in, push your finger and peel it off, it allows a bit of air and allows all the nasties from the water heater out. So a good place to put that's in the passenger door pocket so you don't forget. Your boy in your garage, this is the easy box system, so you can, this little handle hooks on here, and then you can wind this down should the bed be too high inside the easy box storage. Or if you want to get a bike in, you can wind it up and it'll give you the option to get a full-size bike straight through the other compartment. You've got your carpets, your external screens which clip round the outside, so clip on the doors, round the mirrors. This is great for in the summer if it's too hot, it'll keep the sun out, or in the winter if it's too cold. This garage is heated, it's got 240 socket and a 12 volt, so should you need to charge anything. On the back you've got your lower level parking sensors which are color coded, your bars for your bike rack. So this is where, if you're going to fit a bike rack, this is where you'd fit them too, because the body's been strengthened in this position to hold bikes and extra weight. You've got your high level brake light, and above that you've got your rear view camera. You've got your mains 25 meter hookup lead, you've got your tyre inflation kit and your gunk, so should you have a puncture you can put that in. But if you have only got a little puncture, try and put some air in first before you put this in, because once you've put this in you need to get rid of your tyre and it's a new tyre job, whereas it could be just a little puncture where you can get the tyre saved and repaired. You've got a light for in the garage area and you've got your sockets. You've got your external gas point there, so you get a spigot which is called a gas nozzle, and it'll fit in here, and you'll need some gas hosing and a Jubilee clip to clip the nozzle onto here, onto the pipe, and then you can feed your Kadak or external barbecue, and you turn it on and off at the top, and that'll run off the main gas on board. You've got your waste water here, so you pull this when you're over the grid coming out the site, which is normally the motorhome service pay, or it'll be a gully or a hole in the ground if you're on a smaller CL site, and you'll be able to drain off all your waste water. So anything that's went down the plug will drain off here. In the winter, you want to leave the van completely dry of any water, because any water that freezes can cause mayhem and crack tanks. So completely drain it off, which I'll show you from inside, but you will have to drain the waste and the fresh off from outside. That bung needs to be pulled off, and that needs to be opened up. You've got your awning light there, and you've got your LPG, so this is your gas locker, liquid petroleum gas. So you'd open it up and you fit one 6 kilogram gas bottle in here. You tie it in travel. It's a left hand thread onto the pigtail here, so you don't need a spanner, it's just a hand tight and turn on at the top of the bottle. When you are travelling, please turn it off. You've got your tyre pressures located on the door there, so 50.8 on the front and 60.9 on the rear, and you've got your folding handbrake. So everyone thinks this handbrake's off. No, it's not, it's on. To turn it off, you need to pull it up, you need to push the button in, and you need to turn it off, and then the handbrake's off. You'll hear it ratchet up once it goes on and drop once it's off. This is for the seats to turn around, because if it was just a normal height handbrake, this seat wouldn't be able to turn, so that's why it's a fold away one. And then on the open the bonnet, if you use the key with a Ford, you've got 1 and 2, so if you turn it to 1 first, this will pop the bonnet, and 2 will release it. You've got your weight plate here, so it's 3.5 ton, and then you've got a HO number, which is your unique build number of the vehicle, and your chassis number, so any parts or any warranty claims quote that number. You've got your screen wash, so this is the one you'll need the most when travelling. Oil filler, brake fluid, oil level indicator, so you've got your dipstick for checking your level of oil on board, so check that before you go on each journey. If you were jump starting, so this is your positive and negative, you just earth off the engine hoist here. And you've got your antifreeze and your which is your radiator fluid. And then coming round to the passenger door, you've got your easy fill diesel system, where you just put, it's capless, so you just push the nozzle straight in and fill. And below, with this being a Euro 6 compliant engine, you do have AdBlue on board, which is a 20 litre tank, and it will indicate on the dash when it needs it. It should be every 5,000 to 6,000 miles, so it'll probably just be a one fill up a year job. But you can get this at most petrol stations and filling stations now. You just take the cap off and you can fill it, or you can buy it in the drums and carry one with you should you go further afield. But don't let it get too low once the light comes on telling you it needs it, because the engine will go into limp mode to protect the engine. Your leisure battery is underneath the passenger seat, and your engine battery is underneath the driver's seat with it being forward. And to operate your main 12 volt control panel, so you've got your master switch here, which will turn it on or off, and then it'll indicate here when you are hooked up on mains to 40 volts. You've got your lights, so this is the master switch for all your lights, and then they are all individually switched around the vehicle. You've got your pump, which will surface your taps, exterior shower, toilet, and interior shower. So you must have that on, but don't put it on if you've got no water on board, because it'll fry the pump out. Make sure you've got sufficient water. And you'll hear it pressurise when it first comes on. You've got your awning light, and then below you have your leisure battery reading. So this one looks like a trailer. This is showing you your leisure battery there. And then you've got one that looks of a chassis cab or a truck, which is your Ford engine battery. You've got your water level, so this is fresh, and it'll indicate here when this goes red, that your waste's full. Then should you press and hold this and this panel be too bright for the people in the bunks on a night, if you press and hold, it'll dim and brighten the panel. So it'll dim it all the way down and brighten it all the way back up. And above you've got your diesel heating, so to start it off, always start it on full, as it starts the combustion a lot quicker, and then you can turn it to which temperature you want accordingly. And this is your thermometer. Above the door you've got your CO2 and smoke alarm. And in the kitchen, so if you press to open the lockers, if you press below, you've got a catch, so don't just pull the cupboard up. You've got your 2 burner gas rings. So should you have had this on, allow it to cool before you put the lid down, and loads of workspace. Your water, and that's your pump kicking in there. You've got your cutlery drawer. Your oven, your grill pan and your oven shelves, take them out when you travel because it can be a bit noisy. There's your oven lid there. There's your grill lit, and then you do have a light. Below the oven you do have your gas isolation taps, which are here. These are mainly for when the vehicle is habitation serviced. A technician will test that the gas is working accordingly. But should you need to isolate each appliance, you can do so there. But I would say any problems with gas, off at the top of the bottle. Storage. Rate your Dometic fridge, so you've got your travel catcher on here, and then lift handle. This is just a 12-volt fridge, so you simply press on here, this turns it on, and then you've got, if you press and hold this, this is your temperature, so from cooler until you go to the big snowflake, which is the maximum temperature. Got a small freezer box there, and your shelves with your retainers on. So part of the winterizing process, so once you stop using the van, always clean the fridge and freezer box out. You can buy these fridge air fresheners to stop any smells, and then always try and prop the door open. Never allow the door to shut once you've cleaned the fridge out, as you're trapping the air in and it needs air circulation. So just prop the door open to allow air to flow around the fridge and come out, circulate. So located by the small seat behind the bathroom is your 2 Truma boiler switches. So you've got Truma boiler, which is on gas, and Truma boiler EL, which is on electric. So to heat your water, you need to use these switches. So you've got the gas, so should you be wild camping, this is when the cover would have to come off and you not be on an energy source. You've got 50 degrees, off, 70 degrees, and it'll indicate red should the cover be on or you've run out of gas. And then below you've got 1 kilowatt, off, and 2 kilowatts. If you're really desperate for water, you can put it on gas and electric together, but if you've paid your site fees and you've paid for your electric, just use your electric. Unless you're that desperate you need water quicker, you can put it on together. And once the water hits that temperature in the boiler, it will cut out until the water cools down, and then it will kick back in. You've got a gas tap there for your water heater, and then your main boiler drain is located just behind the seat. So down here is your main boiler drain, So that yellow toggle tap allows 10 litres of water to stay in this boiler at any one time. In the winter you do not want the 10 litres of water to stay on board, so you lift it up and you'll hear it drain directly underneath the chassis. Allow it to stand up during the whole time the vehicle is not being used during the winter. Open all your mixer taps to the middle position and leave them open, and then when you do come back to use the van, lie the tap down like so, fill it up from the outside, come in, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first. It'll automatically get cold water, go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises, and what it's doing is it's drawing the water from the main tank underneath in the boiler and spitting any air out when it fills the boiler until you get a steady flow on one tap, and then you can do the others, and then the system is primed. But please drain the boiler down in the winter because it's very expensive if you break it, and it's not covered under warranty as it's your responsibility to winterize the vehicle. In your washroom, to operate the, so you've got your light here, and then operate the toilet, make sure the pump's on, press and hold, it'll flush the toilet like so. And then you've got the trap door, which is the slide, so if you slide at the right, it'll deposit it into the cassette. If this is open like so, it won't come out the exterior of the vehicle. It must be shut to get the cassette out at the exterior of the vehicle. You've also got a hanging rail, which is great if you've been for your towels or your wet coats. If you've been caught, and then to operate your skylight, just turn it and this will open and close and give ventilation on a nice day. And window, press the toggles in, push it out, and then push it all the way out to bring it in, and you do have a blackout and a fly screen on there as well. Your tap here is also your shower, so you can turn it on and it'll work as your shower, or it'll work as a tap. But in the winter, take the shower head off and allow the hose to operate the rear double bed. Obviously this is the easy box system, which is for storage and is in the highest position to give you the optimum space in the garage. And you've got a switch here, so as long as the key's on in the on position, the switch will work over the passenger seat in the luton area, which I'll show you in a second. You'll be able to pull the bed down, so if it was like that, you put the ladder on, and then you've got nets which clip on around the perimeter of the bed and to the ceiling, so should you have children in here, it will not roll out. And the motor for this is located behind that panel, so should you, there's the motor there, so should the power fail with the beds down, especially the back bed, you can manually wind it back up. And then below you can make the seating area into a small bed for a small child. Obviously your lights here, just push lights. So this table would lift out, would clip onto there. So we'd clip that on to there like so. And then you would use the small infill cushion, which was this one. And it'll clip in there and make a small bed. And to operate the front bunks, so if you put the table in the middle position like so, and then you use the switch which is just behind the fridge to lower the table down, you can then lower your bunks, so they'll come down together and then they'll separate into two, so it just gets caught on this cushion here, so you can take that out and continue. And there you have your two beds. And these lights here are just touch lights, and the key is in there for the switches to work for the beds, and should the bunks fail you can take that cover off and there's a manual wind. You've got your curtains with your tele points, so you've got two 12 volt, an aerial and a mains 230, and your TV bracket. To operate your TV bracket you've got a small chrome catch here which will just slide out, and then you can push this button here and turn that into the rear should you require. Make your third or should I say fifth belt, so your third rear passenger. So if you slide this forward, you've then got a back base with a clip there, that clips onto there. And then you've got a belt, which is a lap belt, and you sit facing backwards and travel backwards. Operate this main skylight, so if you turn, you'll then open blackout blind and fly screen, but when travelling, make sure all windows and skylights are closed. And then your windows, just lift the toggles and the catches down, push out, and push all the way out to bring in. Then you do have fly screen and blackout blind. Now in your cab, so on the right, the driver, obviously you've got your handbrake, which I've been through. You've got your electric windows. This locks the door, but when the horn indicates something's open. You've got your automatic lights and headlight adjustment, front and rear fogs, and your speedo, so this will dim the main control panel on the speedo. So should it be too bright or should it be too dark, you can brighten it when the lights are on. You've got your mirror adjustment. I've got all your phones, so this goes through the trip computer in the middle there. If I just pop it on for you, this will go through all the trips. You've got your hands-free and skip the track or radio channel. You've got your voice command, you've got your cruise control, speed limiter, and your volume, obviously with it being an automatic. And you've got your manual, you adjust, so should you want to intervene mode, it'll either give you normal or eco, and this will turn your traction control off. You've got your fan speed, your temperature, where you want the air to circulate to, your recirculating button, your aircon, your heated front windscreen, because it's with it being Ford, it's got the heated front windscreen, which is brilliant in the winter, and this turns on and off. Hazards, 12 volt, start stop, off and on, so when you put your foot on the brake with the auto, it'll automatically cut off, and then as soon as you lift off, it will bring the engine back in, but you can turn that off. You'll only do that if there's sufficient charge in the battery. Locks the glove box. You've obviously got 12 volt up here, which is handy for a sat nav, and a phone holder. And then you do have, with the new XZ head unit, your navigation, should the card be in, which it's not, but it'll be in on the day of collection. You've got the radio, which you can scan for. You've got DAB, which you can scan for as well. Bluetooth, so to pair your phones, Bluetooth. So you just camera, I'll bring on the main camera at the back, but you do have all these buttons as well at the bottom, so Bluetooth. It will just need to go into settings and set the phone up for you. Set up. Go on the audio settings, the TFT, which is your screen, your camera, so you can put a delay on it. You can go other. And it's obviously your volume. And then you do have your blinds, so pinch them, slide them down, pinch, slide along, they'll go behind the mirror, so you can do that on both sides, and then they just clip magnetically there, and then this one will slide down like so. And that's how you'd black the carb out. To connect to the head unit, you would find Accent and search on your smart device, find Accent, and then press pair on here and press pair on your device, and then it will ask you if you want to sync your phone book. Press yes, so then whoever calls you will come up here and you'll be able to answer on the steering wheel or by the screen.